I've got these little brass washers. I've got some bigger ones too, but the center is too big to work for this, but the thinner ones, or smaller ones, can work on the hubs and axles. Basically shims to keep the wheels from wobbling back and forth. If you look at some of my older videos, you can see where it was doing that in the rear, so that fixed that, and it still rolls fine. And I did put a tiny little drip of Loctite, use my file as a pointer, in the hubs right here of the axle where they unscrew the bearing caps. So there's a thin amount of blue Loctite in here. That way I can just heat it up a little bit and unscrew them later if I need to replace the bearings. But these are a little too thick for the rear, so what I've been doing is literally just filing. Took quite a while to get them thin enough to where they work for the rear. The front ones I didn't have to do at all, but the back ones I had to thin them quite a bit. They need to be thin enough to where they move with the wheel, so that they do not bind at all. So just another little tip there, if anybody wants to give that a try. It doesn't have to be brass. I just got the brass washers for the extra weight. But yeah, haven't really done much, dealing with some other stuff. So started cutting some other pieces. So I can make a narrow trailer for the hydroplane. Has to fit in right inside there. The rails have to be narrow. So a little bit at a time, one thing at a time. I'm thinking about, when I do this trailer, thinking about doing it like that instead of flat like this one. So I might do that. I've got it marked for it. It'll just be a pain to cut it all out. 2 little triangles, and then I'll have to drill holes through the center bar into this. They'll have to be perfect. I'll have to cut some angles on the front here and drill the hole in the center about right there for the ball hitch. And then I still have to get rails for the sides. Thought about using some aluminum tubing for it and getting some aluminum solder, but I don't know. I might go a different route with it. Seems more like a pain to do it that way. If I can find some more rails like those, then it would probably work out a lot better. But yeah, that wasn't what the video was about. Solve that wheel wobble problem while watching a movie. So the Jeep is good to go now. Nice and solid, doesn't wobble, doesn't torque flex, torque twist, doesn't bind up at all. I had to back the steering endpoint down to 125 because going full lock to lock, it was getting in a spot where it just didn't want to come back. It didn't want to recenter. So hopefully that'll solve that problem too. Other than that, there's no issues whatsoever. Everything seems to be working pretty good on it. So all a bunch of little stuff when you're modifying it that you're going to run into if you stretch the wheelbase. Your suspension will torque twist really bad, especially if you have your motor mounted in the front. Widened axles, you have to redo the suspension geometry. That also created more torque twist in it, and that's, you know, the panhard setup eliminated that completely, and that brought the axle hubs into play, where I had to make the little brass bushings here, and then I still had some wheel wobble, I'm gonna call it, because it needed shims in between the wheel and the hubs, front and rear, and that was eliminated today. So, all while watching a movie. So, that's that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.